Okay, in this video, I'm going to be talking about using the shipping and receiving screen to pick items to be delivered, pick items off the shelf for delivery. So I first wanted to talk about why. I hope that you've already watched the initial video about the overview of using the shipping and receiving screen. It kind of explains the big picture. But when we talk about picking, I want to talk about why this screen exists. If you think about it, there's at least three different ways you could do picking. One is you could use a scanning system, and OneSource software has a scanning system that works with 1place called OS Online Orders, and we highly recommend it. But if you don't want to use a scanner for one reason or another, the second option might be that when you're on the order, just click the print button and print the pick ticket, hand it to the warehouse person, and on their way. And that's a very simple way of doing it, and a lot of companies do it that way. And if that works for your company, that's totally fine. But a third method or way is to we've just in 1place we've come up with this new screen called shipping and receiving, and there's some great benefits to why this screen exists. First of all, like we've mentioned, it's 1place. It's 1place to see everything that's coming and going from your warehouse. Number two, which is a big reason, is it solves printing issues. What if you print to the warehouse and it doesn't print? How will you know if it didn't print? All it takes is not knowing about a single order that didn't print once a week or even once a month, and you begin to lose faith in the concept of blind printing, and you end up having to spend a lot of money to pay people to double check everything. So we believe that printing on demand in the warehouse, if there's a problem with the printing, they will know instantly and they can solve a problem instead of the front office printing and just praying that it printed properly. Another reason that it solves printing issues is, what if you, for one reason or another, are not in the warehouse where the item will be shipped? How do you? I mean, there's ways of printing over the internet from one warehouse to another, and printing from home to a warehouse, but it's pretty complicated. So a simple way of, if you have a centralized um, call center, then you can take calls in one place and ship out of many warehouses if you'd like. Or even if you only have one warehouse, if you need to take an order or enter an order from a different location, like a hotel room or from home, or who knows, in this COVID world that we live in, it just makes sense to be able to log into 1place from anywhere, take an order, and then have the warehouse people who are actually going to ship the part look on their screen for what needs to go out of their warehouse and select it. A third and final reason that I want to mention is that when you print on demand, you you solve a couple more problems. You you know a date and time when that order it was starting to be picked. You don't wonder, has this been picked or not? You know if it has or hasn't been started to be picked. You know who is picking that item if you need to go talk to them or you need to change something with them. You also are able to establish who in your warehouse picks things quicker than other people or slower than other people. You are able to establish which pickers find the least amount of items or find the most amount of the items. So it's great to have some metrics of what's going on in the warehouse and what is the status of each order and who is doing a good job in your warehouse and who needs improvement. So that's three reasons why we believe that the shipping and receiving screen is a better way of managing your order flow than just printing blindly and not having any accountability. So if you want to use this screen to do your picking, you need to go and check a few settings. So in the first video, the overview video, we talked about how you need to make sure that you have on the warehouse It's already here. It's right here. If you click on shipping and receiving, this screen comes up and you're able to determine, you need to make sure you have a status for printing and picking in, and make sure it goes from the new status of when you create the order directly to the to print and pick status. And that happens automatically. That status gets changed automatically just by clicking on the save and submit on the sales order screen. So that needs to be in place. And then you need to probably make sure that it goes from to print and pick to the picking, so we can see that the status has changed. It's not waiting to be started. It's actually already started. It's in the process of being picked by somebody. So those two things need to be in place. And also, when you go from picking, you need to push it from the picking status, um, in most cases, to dispatch. Now, there are other statuses here, but as of August 13th, 2021, um, there isn't any automation connected to these, so you'll have to manually change the status. If you send it from picking to pack, for example, it's going to need to be manually moved from pack to shipping. So as of this date, um, and if you go from picking, we suggest you move it to dispatch, even if that includes packing before you send it out the door. And you can call this whatever you want. You might want to call this packing, pick, pack, and ship. Pack and ship. You could call that pack and ship, as long as it's really on this status, on this hard-coded status of to dispatch, you'll be fine. So another thing that we need to do is we need to go to the users, and we need to set up a user for the warehouse people. And so, for instance, let's say I want demo user or Rochelle to be a warehouse picker. Then we have to go into that person, go to other settings, and make sure they are listed as a warehouse worker. That will enable them to show up as with a button on here. We want the person in the warehouse doing the picking to be able to just walk up, click their name, decide what they need to pick next, and go. And it's that simple. Click, 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 click. Click here, click here, click here. The printing starts to come out within 1 or 2 seconds. The items have been assigned to that person, and the pick ticket is coming out of the printer. So we made it super simple. Who is going to be the people in the warehouse? The filter by. You can either filter or you can just select. You can say, oh, I have time to pick 5 items. So that being the case, you can just say click these, and this will automatically select the top 5 items based on the time they came in the door. So this you get to decide as a picker how much you want to kind of bite off, by selecting the number of items. Now, another thing you can do is you can say, well, I have, in this case, I have 0, but let's say I had 2 that need to have a customer pickup. Well, I probably want to do those first. Or let's say FedEx cutoff is 5 p.m. and it's 4:30. I may want to get those done really quickly. So this is going to be based on the shipping method. Is it going to be customer pickup, FedEx? Is it going to be one of the trucks? So let's just say that in this case I've selected demo user. It assigns me here. It gives me a batch ID. And then let's just say I pick truck 1. Then it's going to automatically find everything assigned with a ship via of truck 1. It's important to make sure that you have on every customer and every order a ship via, so that it's not, in this case, unassigned. It makes it quicker to select them and dispatch them in that case. So I picked truck 1. It picked the 7 items, and I click on print and pick selected. Up comes whatever I've selected before. If I want to print labels, there is a separate video that will be created that talks about the OS Print Manager that will allow you to print not just to your browser printer, but to an actual Zebra type printer using the print queue for that. So that's a separate app that we need to set up if you want to print to labels. In this case, I've got picking ticket, sales order, label. I'm just going to remove them, and I could come into here and select what I want to be visible on that pick ticket. There we go. And that'll remember it from here on out. Something's going on with my save here. I'm just going to click close here. Okay, so I'm going to print 1 or 2 or so X number of pick tickets, maybe 2, so I have an extra one to go back to the front office. I'll click print. And now I can see my pick ticket. And there was different options for that pick ticket. I could print 1 pick ticket per order, or I could put all the items on one and kind of do a wave picking where I just go left to right in the warehouse, regardless of whose order it's for. So you get to decide what's better for the way you do business. In this case, I'm going to click. I'll click on the print. That pulls up the default printing for cells that are S1608, and here's S1624, 2 separate pick tickets. It's just going to use the built-in browser printing. I'll go ahead and click print, and then I'll click save and update. I could click close, but if I click save and update, it's going to push it. You'll see these green ones, they will go away, and now they've moved over to the picking. I have 7 that are in the process of being picked, and here's the start time. And let's say that I come back. If I came back to this screen and I forgot to mark them as picked, if I tried to go ahead and start a new one, then it's going to tell me I need to finalize the pick that I've already started, and it will move me over to that, and it'll show me the items and I say, oh, that's right, I haven't finalized these yet. So in this case, I'll click my name. This is the process of stopping the pick. I click my name, and then instead of manually having to go through and decide how many of each of these I actually found, I'll just click on auto select and update all quantity picked values to the quantity shipped field. And then that just marks them as picked. Now, that's in best case scenario. Sometimes that's not real world. Let's say I wasn't able to find this item. I can come over here and say I couldn't find that. And I wasn't able to find this item, can't find that. So I click on the pick completed. Because I mark those as not found, it creates, and there's a setting in here where you can define who will receive these, but I'm able to send a quick email to the front office to whoever I've defined in advance, telling them that I have a picking problem, that it was short picked, and that this demo user just completed picking for this batch. The following items were not picked in full for this order, for this customer, this item. They ordered 1, I picked 0. Maybe they ordered 5, I picked 3, whatever. So this lets the person in the warehouse let people in the front office know there's a problem and move on picking the next item instead of having to handwrite something and go stop what they're doing and go up to the office. So this is a quick way of passing the problem over to the front office to handle this. And then if they, from there, it may come back for me to pick later on. I'll click send email. That'll get pushed out. I could have added more on here if I wanted. And now I'm ready to start the process over to start picking something else. So as of this moment, because this 1place is such a new program, there's not any reports that discuss or that show the metrics of what's going on in the warehouse and who is the most efficient, who's the least efficient, and things like that. But those are coming, so just be aware of that. But if you want to have more accountability and more visibility of what's going on in the warehouse and the status of the delivery of all of your orders, we recommend that you use the pick and print screen. And even if you're scanning, you'll use this along with the scanning. So we do highly recommend that. Hope this has been helpful, and I do hope you have a great day.